Thanks for joining today's session. Like as usual, what we want to do here is just go straight to labs. Everything I talk to you about in this session, they're very important for you to know in your day-to-day cloud engineer solutions architecture jobs. All right, last week we talked about IAM. All right, we talked about identity and access management. And we said this is how you give access to your users, right? This is how you give access to your users in AWS, right? You start your company tomorrow, or you're the new IT solutions architect for this company that's just going into cloud. How are you going to start creating accounts for users in your AWS account so they can have permissions to these services that you're interested in using in AWS? Yes, my recorder is working now, Stephen. Thanks for asking. All right. So if you've missed last 2 weekends, I know some people are perhaps new today. You're just doing it for the first time. Please watch the session from last 2 weeks. We talked about identity and access management. Watch the first week, watch the second week. This week, I want us to touch on a few things, right, before we move into S3. Now, guys, with IAM, right, and I'm going to talk as if you all have been with me the past 2 weeks, okay? With identity and access management, sometimes you are not creating users so that they can launch virtual machines like EC2 instances, right? I know some of you can just refer to them as virtual machines. If that makes it easier for you to remember, that's fine, right?
I don't see your screen. I'm just seeing myself. I don't know if you stop sharing your screen.
Right, let me present my screen. I was just recording. I wasn't presenting my screen. Let me present my screen. A good catch. 1 second. Let's see here. Is that the one I want? Yes. I want to get some yeses. 2 yeses if you can see my screen that says IAM, allow read-only access to IAM console. 2 yeses. Just 2 yeses and I'll move on. Can you see what I'm presenting? Okay, very good. All right, guys. So, as I was saying, let's say, for example, you're the cloud engineer at your company. You want to add other cloud engineers, that will be using your AWS console. But in some cases, you're not creating IAM users, guys. You're not creating IAM users so that this person, will work on EC2, or this person will work on S3 service for your company, and you guys, work together to make that AWS magic happen, right? In some cases, guess what? You want to create an IAM user for someone we all usually don't like to see. Who? Auditors, right? Right? So let's say, for example, there's an auditor in your company, right? And they need to do some type of cloud assessment, right? How are you keeping things secure? Your security groups that you're creating. Don't worry about security groups for now. We're going to talk about that later on when we talk about dynamic websites, okay? Now, this auditor needs an account, right? But you're not going to give them an account that creates everything, right? You're not going to give them an account that can create EC2, that can create S3, and do things, and do, let's say, write permissions, right, on your AWS account. You want to give them an account, a user. You want to create a user for them, for the auditor, to what? To be able to only read things in your AWS. You know what that means, right? They can only, for example, go to your EC2 console, right? Don't worry if you don't know what EC2s are for now. Where you launch your servers, EC2, right? They go in there and they just see that, okay, you have 5 servers. That's all they can do. They can only see, right, and report on those 5. They cannot make any changes to your servers, right? Especially if those servers are production servers. You never ever want an auditor, right, or an outsider to be able to make changes, right? So in this case, because this auditor, we know them, they're here to do their job, we have to create an IAM user for them so that they can only, view. Let me just keep it that simple, right? They can only see view permissions in your AWS account. Now, that's why we're going to go ahead now. Let's just quickly do this hands-on. Let's create a user, guys. I'm going to click on user here. I'm going to click on user on my left here. So go ahead and click on user. Go to your AWS console. Go to IAM. Okay, let me do that for you guys to see. Go to your AWS console. I'm just going back to my console so that you guys see how I got there. Computer's a little slow. So get to our services, right? Once we're in this console, we just go in that search box right there and we just type IAM. Okay, just type IAM. I know my computer is a little slow, but it should pop up in a few seconds. And remember, I like to, take things in not too advanced way, just because I know there's some people on this call that are not, they're just getting started. Okay, I know some of you are advanced, you know how to get to these things quickly. So I just try to carry everybody along. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go to my IAM, and also you can see down there was something about recently viewed services, so I can just click on that as well. But you can
see your screen. We can't see your screen.
Can't see my screen. It says that I'm presenting. Oh, okay.
I think I couldn't see your screen before. I think I couldn't see your screen.
Some. Oh, okay. So guys, log out and join in again. Okay, close and join in again if you can't see my screen, so others can see it. Or I'll give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, let me give you 2 minutes. All right, log out and log back in if you're not able to see my screen. 1.5 minutes remaining. Okay, it's good for you now. Okay, I guess we can continue, guys. Just for the sake of time. So we're in our identity and access management, and now I hope I can be comfortable that you guys know what this is and what we can do in this service right here in AWS. So let's go ahead and click on users. You've just been told as the solutions architect, as a cloud engineer, I use those terms interchangeably, in your company, that you have an auditor coming in and you need to give them permission to view all of your AWS resources. So that's why you're doing this now, okay? So go ahead and click on add user. Go ahead and click on add user. Let's call this user auditor, okay? Let's call this user our auditor, okay? So now we're gonna let's just grant only management console access. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Let's do both. The permissions will limit what they can do. Okay, now click on custom password. We all did this last week. Give a password that you can remember. Uncheck this last box right here. Okay, now that should be good. We're giving a name of auditor here from the third-party company that needs an account with us in our AWS so they can do some reporting. Go ahead and click on next permissions. Okay, because I want to show us inline policies this week, I'm not going to do anything here. Okay, I'm not going to do anything here. This is attached policies direct from existing user policies directly. Won't do any of this. Let me admit someone real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to click on next tags. Okay, let's add a tag here. Remember, tag is just for us to, just for housekeeping, like I always say. Let's give a name there and just say auditors. Okay, so that way if you look at this account tomorrow, you can tell what you created this account for. Okay, call it, although you can tell from the name you gave it as well. All right, now go ahead and click on next review. Okay, this user has no permissions. Okay, we know that. All right, now go ahead and click on create user. Okay, go ahead and click on create user. Type 1 if you're able to do what I just did. Type 1 if you're able to do what I just did. Type 1 and press enter on the chat. Very good, very good, very good. Like that. All right, guys. Remember to always download this. Okay, because this is how the auditor is going to be able to log into the AWS console. They're going to get a link. There's a link in this file that you downloaded. We talked about all of that last week. Not going to repeat too much about that. Download that file. It has the credentials that the person is going to use to log into your AWS console. Okay, there's a specific link for them to go to and be able to enter the email and password that you created for them. Okay, so they can log in. But now remember, they can't do anything. They cannot do anything. They cannot read. They cannot do anything at all. All right, now we clicked on close. I just clicked on close. Now I'm going to click on the auditor. Okay, I'm going to click on the auditor. Okay, now as you can see in the permissions, there's no permissions to this user. And from last week's class, last week's session, you guys saw how we're able to add permissions to a user directly and how we're able to do that using the best practices by creating a group, right? We're not going to repeat something about that. Mohammed Abukar type 2. All right. So permissions, inline policies, guys. Inline policies. Okay. So in this case, we want to add a policy to this user. Okay, we want to attach a policy directly to this user to say what they can do. That's why let me cancel that. That's why we're clicking on this now. Okay, that's why we're clicking on this. We're adding an inline policy to this user. Right now, this policy, guess what? It's in line with this user. Inline policy, only specific to this user. Okay, now we're gonna go grab a policy. As I told you guys, do not be scared when you see all of these commas and what do you call them, semicolons, and this JSON code. Okay, do not be scared. If, for example, in your company, like I always said, if in your company you are told to create an IAM policy that grants access to S3, don't just Google it. Okay, just Google and find example policies. There are several example policies. Don't try to write this yourself unless you're getting very, very specific about what you're trying to do. Okay, so as you can see now, this permission that I've searched for, it grants, it's in the identity and access management documentation, and it's right here. It says what? Allows read-only access to the IAM console. Okay, so this will allow only read access to your AWS console, and this is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so you see now, I'm not, I'm not trying to think too hard, where should I have these curly brackets and all that? No. AWS has given me an example that just works. Okay, and you can see this button right here. You can just click on that and it will automatically copy this code right here, right? This JSON code. So now let me go back to that user. Now I'm going to click on JSON here. I don't want to use the visual editor, right? This visual editor makes it easy for me to just choose the service, choose the actions that I want for that user, and so on. Okay, but now I'm going to choose on JSON. Okay, I'm going to choose on JSON, wipe everything out here. Okay, clear everything out here and get this well-written working example that AWS has given us to attach to this user. So now I'm just going to paste that, guys. I'm going to paste that. And I'm going to click on review policy. Okay, I'm going to click on review policy. Okay, let me give this policy a name. Let's say Auditor. Auditor. See what I'm doing? Read only. That way, if I see this policy tomorrow, I know what what type of permissions I have in there. Okay, what type of policy I put in there. Okay, now go ahead and click on create policy. Okay, go ahead and click on create policy. Okay, now as you can see, we're only looking at this auditor user right here. This user auditor only. Okay, this auditor user now has this permission that we created. We're not going to test, guys, just for the sake of time. We're not going to test this. You all saw from last week how you can, go ahead and log in as a new user that you've created. That Excel file that you downloaded, it has all the information that this user needs to log into the AWS console and be able to only do what? Read only stuff, right? Read only permissions, right? On your AWS account. AWS also has a manage policy. Okay, you don't have to go this route and try to find this policy that we just found here and use it for this user. In AWS as well, right? There's some managed policy. Let's find that actually. As I was saying earlier, we're done now. Okay, this user, when they log in, they will have only read-only permissions. But when you look at policies in AWS as well, okay, there's another route that you can take to give read-only permissions for services. Okay, let's say you don't want to give read permissions like we just did to every service in AWS, right? Let's say you just only want to give read permissions to S3 only. Okay, because what we just did now is every service, right? For every service, they will have only read permissions. What if your company says only read permissions for EC2 only? Okay, what if your requirement is only read only permissions? Very easy, right? When you come to policies, you're just gonna look for, let's do it directly to the user. Let's go to the user again. Let's go to the user. Let's do something here. A lot of people are joining now, so that's why you can hear some of those sounds. I have to admit them into the call. If you're just joining, don't worry. I'm recording the sessions. You can watch the recording later on. Where's our auditor? So go back to your users and go back to your auditor, okay? Let's say, for example, now we want to add S3 read-only permission to this user. Okay, we don't want to give them this read-only everything. Okay, like we just did. Let's expand. If you expand that, if you click on that, you can expand and see your JSON. Okay, it'll show you your JSON right here. Where's my JSON? If I click on JSON, I should be able to see my yeah. Okay, so that's that for the user. We can just see about that. So now let's say now, apart from what we just did, which is allowing read only to every service, you've been told by your whoever manager, supervisor, that for your auditor, they're only coming to audit your S3, your storage, right? Your S3 or your EC2, your servers only. So now go ahead and add permissions. Now we want to add a permission that's just going to allow S3 only. Let's work with S3 only for now. S3 read only. So click on attach existing policies directly. Okay, now I'm going to do that for this user. Remember, I'm in this auditor user of ours. Attach existing policies directly. It brings this up for me to search for policies. Okay, now one quick note here, guys, right? And I know perhaps this can be an exam topic as well. When you see this yellow box right here, it means that this is a policy that you cannot edit. Okay, this is a policy that was created by AWS as an example that you can use as a sample policy. Okay, so these policies right here you cannot edit, but policies that you create, if I click on here and I click on customer managed, okay, I can see the policies that I created. Okay, and then I can edit those because I created those. But these ones with the yellow boxes, I cannot edit them. All right, so moving on. Now, let's say I want to give S3 only permissions. I'm going to type S3 and I'm going to try to type read here and let's see what comes up. Ah, you see that? Amazon S3 read only access. So assume now that you did not give them that, read only to everything like we did earlier. And you just only want to give read only to your S3 service, right? The storage service on AWS. Then this is how you're going to do it. You're going to click on the checkbox here. Now that you found the specific policy that you want for this auditor to only be able to read only in your S3 service, and then go ahead and click on next review, and then go ahead and click on add permissions. Okay, go ahead and click on add permissions. Okay, so now let's say, for example, they said, okay, remove the one that we added earlier where they can read everything in our AWS account. You can just click on the X right here. Done. Right? Remove. Okay, that's done. And then what do they have only now? They can only read S3, right? They can only see the documents, the files, the folders that you have in AWS storage service called S3. Now that brings us into today's topic, AWS S3. All right, I'm hoping we can finish this lab today because there's something I want us to be able to create today. And what we are going to try to do today. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit fast because we only have an hour. Okay, and I want us to get done with today's lab. All right, for S3. But if not, we're always coming back next week. But let's see how fast we can go. Okay. So guys, S3 is a storage service in AWS, right? It's a storage service in AWS that you can use to store unlimited amount of data. Okay? AWS has something called regions around the world. Okay? Regions. So there are regions around the world, guys. There are regions around the world. And a region can be in a country or it can be across countries. Okay? One of the popular regions in AWS in the United States is Northern Virginia. Okay, Northern Virginia. All right, there's Northern Virginia, there's Ohio, there is London. Okay, there's several of them. Okay, now what we want to quickly touch on now is the S3 service. Okay, when someone talks to you about storage on AWS, one thing I always want you to quickly think about is S3. Simple storage service. Okay, remember guys, storage, unlimited amount of storage. Think AWS S3. Now when you're creating your S3 bucket, there's a concept called bucket in AWS, right? But we'll get to that shortly. Let's start with this first. Within AWS, within the regions, when you've chosen to create a storage service, you have to specify a region. Okay? You have to specify a region. If your company is in Northern Virginia, let's take Northern Virginia for example. I know so there are people here from India, from Saudi Arabia watching in this session now, but we're always going to use example in the United States. Okay, you can assume this to be any other region in the world. Okay, I'm in Northern Virginia myself, so let's assume Northern Virginia here, right? Northern Virginia is a state here in the US. Northern Virginia here, Ohio, London. Now, our company is in Northern Virginia, right? And we want to create a storage service in AWS. What are we going to do? When we're creating S3, we're just going to choose Northern Virginia, right? And create our what we call buckets. This is very important, guys. Buckets. Okay? Think of the bucket as a father folder, right? A father folder to subfolders. Okay? Now, this is your bucket. I'm going to put in parentheses here, folder. You all work with folders on your Windows computers. Can everyone else hear me? Can everyone else hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. All right, I'm going to continue. Okay? Yeah, Oluwasegun, please check your audio. All right. Now, bucket folder. Now, think of this as the big grandfather folder, okay? The what else can I use? Okay, let me just say the overall folder that also has folders inside of it, or what? Files directly. Let's say this is an image file. Okay, you can have an image or a Word document or whatever type of file directly in your big bucket, folder, or you can have what? Subfolders. Okay? You can have subfolders. Okay? That means these folders can also contain folders that also contains folders that also contains folders. Okay? So you can have folders and you can have files. You can have folders, you can have files. Okay? So bucket. You're going to hear this a lot. Very important. That is the big folder, right? Where you have subfolders and files. Now, let us go to the console real quick. Now, guys, what I want us to be able to do before we conclude today's session is I want you to be able to create. There's one very important feature on AWS. Okay? Apart from you creating this, big folder where you're going to have all of your company files and folders and all that, to store, unlimited amount of whatever your company wants in that bucket. With S3, you can also launch a website. Okay? Let me say host in this case. You can host your website, right? Let's say your company has a website. You have developers, right? And some people ask me these questions, right? Do I have to be a developer? No, you don't. Okay, to learn AWS or to be a cloud engineer, no, right? You have developers. Okay, developers are the ones that know about HTML and CSS and PHP and JavaScript and Java and all that. So your developers tell you where these codes are. Okay, where the source. You hear this a lot in the industry. Okay, let's say you have a website, right? And this website, it's going to be a static website. A static website is a website that, that is not dynamic in nature. When I say that, you don't have users who log in and they have, their different accounts, right, within your web application or in your website. Okay, a static website is just a website that is informational, right? Think about a blog post, an article. People don't have to log in to read your blog post or your article. Okay, so let's say your company writes articles. Okay, your company publishes articles, right? And they've always been doing this, on their on-premises, their data centers, spending a lot of money, with like servers and all that. In AWS, you can easily and simply use the S3 service to host this static website. And I'm using a blog post as an example in this case. It doesn't have to be a blog post. Okay? Any website that you can go to that you and I don't have to log in, to see what's specific to our profiles within that website. Okay? It's just an informational website. Okay? It's retaining the same content for every user. Okay? And let's say, for example, it's a movie website, right? It's a place where you can see movie previews, right? Everyone in the world can go to that website and watch that movie preview. They don't have to log in. There's nothing dynamic about that website. We don't have to have our username and password and all that. So your developers have now, they are the ones that write the code, okay? And they put this code in a folder, right? And now you as the cloud engineer, you know that if this is a static website, you've recommended that your company goes this route, and what? Use S3 static website hosting, okay? I was trying to write static here. Use S3 static website hosting, okay? You know that now. Now you are going to grab that code now, okay? You're going to grab that code for this specific website here. We're going to assume this is a example website, example static website, okay? Example static website, okay? Now you are going to grab that folder that contains the source code, okay? Yes, I'm sharing my screen. Can you all see my screen? Okay, very good. All right, now you're going to grab that, and then you're going to what? You're going to put it in S3, okay? You're going to put it in S3, and remember, you're going to have to choose a region, okay? And in this case, we're going to always choose Northern Virginia, okay? Just as an example, we're always going to choose Northern Virginia region, okay? So now you as a cloud engineer, you have been tasked with what? Making sure that this website is available for the world to see, okay? Your developers, they just worry about writing the code, okay? And the features and updating the link and all that, and updating the source code. Now you take that code, okay? And you make sure that it's, highly available, right? And when you use S3 for that, it's going to be automatically highly available, right? As long as you're using the S3 standard tiers option. Okay, I'm not going to go deep into tiers here. Just keep in mind, we're always going to use the standard tier of S3 storage. AWS has different tiers, and each one, saves you money depending on the one you're using. All right. So we're going to use standard, which is going to make sure that the website is highly available. It's going to put it in what we call availability zones. I'm not going to get too much into availability zones for now. It's just think about this. Think about availability zones as 3 data centers, right? AWS will store your whatever you're storing in S3 within a given region. It will store it in 3 different places, right? So that if this place goes down, maybe flood or electric outage or anything like that, people can still get to your website, okay, or your application. Right, so it's very using standard will ensure that this happens, that whatever you're storing in S3 is stored in 3 different places, availability zones. Moving on, I know we don't have much time left for this lab, but we'll try to get it done. So does everyone follow so far? Can I get 2 yeses and I'll continue? 2 yeses. Are you following me so far? Okay, very good. All right, now as cloud engineers, let's go into the AWS console. Let's go and grab the code, guys. There is a website Zoom that our developers store all our web applications in this website, right? Where we grab them, we download the source code for the websites, either dynamic or static. We grab them, and then we put them on servers if they're dynamic, or we put them in S3 to host them as static websites, okay? So what I want us to do, let's say this is the static website that our developers have created, right? Now, I'm going to open this, and don't worry, I've already downloaded the source code. Now I'm going to click on download, okay? I've already downloaded this, and I have it in this Google folder for you guys, okay? I'm going to put it in the chat. For those of you watching the video, the recording, don't worry, you will have access to it. I'll put it in the description of this video, okay? So for those of you on the chat, go into this folder right now. We need to get into this folder right now and download the source code for this website. Now look at what it looks like. It's very beautiful, right? This is the website that you've been tasked in your company now to host. It is a static website. You are tasked now with what? Hosting this website on AWS, right? You're tasked with opening this website on AWS. It's loading. Preview. This is just a preview. Right now, this is what it will look like if you successfully host it on S3. Okay, if you successfully host this on S3, this is what it is going to look like. Come on now. I definitely need to add new RAM to my laptop. Definitely. I just want to show you guys what it looks like. If it doesn't work in another 10 seconds, I'm just gonna show you guys. We're just gonna work. Okay, it's coming up. All right, so this is an example website. As you can see, I can click on services, I can click on portfolio. What I want you guys to do with that drive, let me open it like you guys have done. So this is it right here. This is the Google Drive that I told you guys to open. Whatever source code examples I'm going to be giving you guys, I'm going to be dropping it in this folder. So save this drive, this link in a safe location, okay? Now, what we want to do now is download the source code, okay? The whatever folders in your company's shared folders, they put the source code in, you grab it from there and you just, put it on your computer, okay, for now, right? Put it on your computer, which is an example of what we're doing now. So we're grabbing that code from wherever our developers put it. We're taking that now so we can go and put it in AWS S3 storage service. So now this is the one we're working on with today, static S3 static site code, okay? And you guys have seen what that would look like. It will look like this. Once we successfully open this, it should look like this, okay? Very beautiful, right? I know. So this is an example website. As you can see, it just has gibberish. Lorem ipsum. All right, it just has gibberish. All right, but this is what you want to. This is an example of what the website should look like at the end. So I want you guys to click on this. Okay, click on this. Okay, I think if you right click, it should show you the download. You should be able to download this on your computer. Okay. Download. Do you guys see that? I'm going to click on download. I want to download this. This is the source code for that website, right? This is the source code for that website. I click on download. It's going to download. Okay. If you guys are able to do this fast, I can. Maybe due to your internet. Why is it telling me this? Let me refresh this page. Let me refresh this page real quick. The server encountered an error. Let me just refresh. Someone is giving Mac users a hint there. Someone is giving, look at the chat. Someone just gave you Mac users a hint. Okay. All I want you guys to do is folder. Make sure you extract everything inside of it and put it on your desktop. Okay, create a folder on your computer's desktop and call that folder, maybe call it AWS lab files. Okay, call that folder that, and then put this folder in that folder. Okay, put this folder in that folder. All right, let me go ahead and right click this. Just because my computer is a little slow today, I'm gonna have to restart after this session. I don't want to do that now. It's just gonna mess up a lot of things. Okay, I'm gonna click on download. Okay, now it's zipping and downloading. All right, zipping and let me see if I already have it downloaded from before. So I just removed. Never mind, it's been removed. Okay, all right. It's downloaded. It's downloaded. Let me go to my download folder. Let me go to my downloads folder and see if it's there. Where are my downloads? Downloads. It's not there. Oh, there it is. It's just popping up now. Okay. All right. So it's downloaded. It's downloaded. All right. Now I'm going to show in folder. Okay. I'm going to show in folder. Okay. I'm going to show in folder. All right. So create a folder on your desktop, guys, especially for these Sunday sessions. Create a folder on your desktop and call it AWS training files. Okay, double click on this folder now. Okay, double click on the folder and source code it. Create a folder in that and call it source code examples. Okay, source code examples. All right, and then paste that folder that you have now. Okay, paste that folder that you have. Paste that folder that you just copied, that you downloaded. So make sure I copy it. Again, create a folder on your desktop. Source code examples. Paste. There you go. But now I need to extract. Okay, I need to, because this is zipped. I don't want zipped for now. Okay, I don't want zipped. Let me extract. extract, extract all, mine is extracting now. Okay, it's extracting. All right, show extracted files when complete. I'm just seeing these options right here. Okay, you guys who perhaps it's like this, I'm gonna cancel that. So it says it is in here now. Okay, if I open this and I open this, there you go. Okay, these are the source codes, right, that our developers have put in this folder. Okay, for this static website code. So now this is the folder that we want. This is the folder that we want. I'm just gonna go back to source code examples, delete, paste it, and delete everything else. Okay, delete all of this. All right. At the end of the day, guys, all I'm doing is making sure I get an unzipped file and just put it in this example, in this folder that you're gonna be using from now on. Okay. For this specific website, here it is, S3 static site code. Now let's go to our AWS console now. Let's go.
Your screen.
Is anyone else can see my screen?
Everybody is not seeing your screen. It's frozen.
Okay, let me stop presenting and then present again. All right, let me go ahead and present again. Present now.
We can't see your
A
screen.
new window.
Your screen.
Everybody is not
Share.
seeing your screen. It's frozen.
Can you guys see it now? Can everyone see my screen now? Okay, not yet. Let me.
No, not yet.
Okay. A window, that, share. How about now? How about now? Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, good. All right, guys. All we just did, take that folder, download it, and put it on your computer. This is the code now that our developers have given us. We want to put in the S3 bucket, okay, for our static website. Now, I'm gonna go a little fast here. Please, sorry if this session takes a little more than an hour. I remember we had some technical issues in the beginning. Let's just try to get this lab done, okay? Hope you guys can stick with me. All right, now let's go back to the AWS console. Okay, click on AWS here. Click on AWS. Okay. Click on AWS. Now, how do we get to S3 service? You all already know, right? So just go ahead and type S3 in there. Okay, go ahead and type S3 in there, and then go to, and that should pop up S3 service for you. And then you click on that, and then we're gonna go to S3. We're gonna go to S3. Okay, guys, what I'm showing you today, this is money. Okay, this is this is gold. Okay, with you knowing how to do this, you know, you can do some freelance jobs, right? As you, yeah, it's loading. My screen is blank. Just give it a second. Give it a second. Can you see it now? Well, I'm getting a lot of no's. There's something wrong with my, I'm gonna reshare again. Let me reshare one more time. And I really don't want to switch to using Zoom. How about now, guys? How about now? Can you all see it now? And don't worry, when you watch the recording, you'll be able to see everything. No, it says I'm sharing. This is not. Okay, all right, let's move on. All right, good. All right, now, so in this folder here, this is an example code that I had before. Don't worry about this. I'm going to create, let's create a new bucket now, okay? Now you're in AWS S3, right? You're AWS S3. Don't worry about this bucket that I have here. This is an example from before. Now, in buckets, I want you guys to click on create bucket, okay? Click on create bucket right there on the top right. Click on create bucket. Okay, click on create bucket. Yeah, it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube. Yes. I'll share all of those links later on. Okay. All right. Now let's call this bucket, guys. Let's call this. We want to use this specific bucket for our S3 static website. Okay. So let's call this S3 static. Okay. S3 static website. Or you can just call it static website. It doesn't matter at this point. Okay. Now remember I talked about choosing regions. Let's go ahead and choose our region. Okay. Choose Northern Virginia. All right. Just a quick yes. Can you all still see my screen and what I'm doing right now? Okay, very good. Moving on.
Yes.
All right, very good. Now, guys, I do not recommend this in real life. Please listen to this. I do not recommend this in real life. Don't say I taught you this, okay? Because this website is going to be a publicly viewable website, I'm going to uncheck this, okay? Because as you can see, I'm getting a warning here. But because we know for a fact in our company that this is one of our websites that's going to be public for the entire world, okay? It's an informational website for the whole world. So I'm going to uncheck that, okay? And now I'm going to click on, don't worry about a bucket version for now. We're going to talk about that maybe sometime next week. Just move on. Uncheck this. Now let's move on. Let's move on. Tags, no. Encryption, choose enable. It doesn't hurt. You know, it's always best practice. Even if your company doesn't have their own specific keys, always use AWS's, provided keys, okay? So just choose enable and leave that at Amazon S3 to S3 will encrypt this for you, okay? Now, let's see what's in advanced settings. Object lock, don't worry about that for now. We can have time to talk about that later on. So this is the bucket that we're creating, and I hope you all know what the bucket is now, okay? The big folder, right? Where you can have subfolders and files. All right, go ahead and click on create. What is that? Okay, I have to acknowledge that I'm making this public, okay? Go ahead and check on acknowledge, guys. Check on acknowledge and click on what? Create bucket. Okay. Create bucket. The requested bucket is not available. Very good. Now, because this bucket names around the world must be unique. If someone in the world in their AWS account has already used this name before, I cannot use it. That's why it's telling me that someone has used this name and a bucket somewhere in the world exists that has this name. So let me just add my initials. Let me say MK and see if that works. Okay. Let me add MK to the bucket name and try that. Let's see. Hopefully no one in the world has taken that bucket name. So remember, very important to know, bucket names around the world in any AWS account have to be unique. All right. So my bucket is creating. So that's my bucket right here. This is my bucket right here. Okay, so now let me just make sure I have my static website code okay, available. All right, guys, let me guess 2 yeses. Let me know. I see yes already. Let me type 1 if you're able to get so far where I'm so far. Yes, 1. Very good. All right, now click on your bucket. Now we need to drop the source code, guys. Remember source code, the coding and all that, and the files together that makes up our website that our developers have given us to host, right? Now, we're going to open the bucket that we've created to host that static website. And you see how that website looks, right? It's a very beautiful website. It's an example website from some free website out there that we're going to use. Okay, so now this is my bucket, okay? Now, I want to upload, okay? I want to upload, okay? I want to upload into this bucket. I want to upload into this bucket. All right. Now it says drag and drop files and folders you want to upload here, or choose add files or add folders. So what I want to do is, let me go ahead and open my folder where I have all of this. Okay. Remember, this is the source code, right? This is the source code. All of this makes up that beautiful website. You see, as you can see, it has some CSS. If you know what this all means, these are just programming, I can say, let me just say programming languages, right, that are used to write that website that you see. Okay, this is it has some JavaScript, and then you always need your index page for your home page. Okay, so guys, you take this now. You remember, you're not the developer. The developers did this. They wrote this website. All of the code is in all of these files. All of this together makes up the website. So now I want to drag that and and put them in here. I want to drag that and put those in my folder. Okay, in this specific bucket that I've created. I want to drag that and put that in this specific bucket that I've created. Anybody else frozen for them? Or is it working now? Oh, okay, good. I'm gonna continue, guys. Sorry, I just gotta move on. As long as someone says they can see it. First, is that no? You can see it, or can I get yeses if you can see my screen and what I'm doing so far? Can I get yes? Okay, very good. All right, guys. Now we have that. And don't worry about all of these expansions. For some reason, the S3 console changed at some point, and then it just expands like everything you have in your folders, and it lists them out here. So don't worry if everything does not look exactly like what you have here. Okay, it's still the same thing. It's just like it's like opened up more of these folders. As you can see, it like opened them all. It spread them out instead of having just this that we have. But you see what it looks like later on. Okay. So in this same page, guys, for us to have S3 static website. Now I'm not very sure at this point, but I believe we need bucket versioning to have a static website. Okay. But just for now, just click on enable. Even if you don't need it later on, it doesn't matter. I just want you to click on enable. Just enable it. It doesn't hurt to enable. Just click on Y. Okay. Click on enable versioning. It doesn't hurt. Okay. We'll talk about that next class. Okay. Now that we've done all that, I want you to click on upload. Okay. Let me just make sure I don't miss anything. Yes, it's going to be on standard. I'm just expanding additional options. Okay. I'm just expanding additional options. It's on standard. Remember I talked about different tiers. It's going to be stored in 3 different places. Standard, that's that. Encryption, use default from the bucket. Access control list. I'm not going to worry too much about that. What else is here? Object lock. And then just click on upload. Okay, click on upload. All right, now it's uploading all of those files. Oh, Wale has successful already. Okay, Wale, does that mean you've uploaded all of those files into your bucket? Anybody else has uploaded all of these files into their bucket?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So just give mine a few minutes. It's uploading. And sorry, guys, if this takes a little longer, please bear with me. If you have to leave, I can understand. Don't worry, you have the recording to finish watching it, okay? I can understand if you have to leave, but I just want to make sure I complete this at least for this week. Okay, once we're done with this, then you guys will be good to go. As this is uploading, please, guys, just to make sure that a lot of people get to hear about these sessions, please make sure you go to the videos. I'm not forcing you to like. If you don't like them, don't like them. But if you think they're very useful, you're gaining a lot of experience and benefit from this, please click on the like button so Google can recommend it to more people. Click on like, click on subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to my channel where I'm uploading these videos, please do that. Subscribe to the channel. Here are the important links for those that 12. Here are the important links for today. Okay, I have the link to the playlist. Also, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I'm gonna post it in the chat. All right. So, those are the links to everything. The Telegram channel, my YouTube playlist is all in there. Okay. LinkedIn, sample resume, Telegram channel. I have to put it in 2 places. So just give me 1 second, guys. I'm just pasting all of these important links for you guys. So there you have that. Those are important links for the Telegram channel. Here you have it. For the Telegram channel, there you go. All right, guys. Mine is successful now. Okay, now it is successful. Okay, so now what we want to do with this bucket, let us go back to the S3 console. Here's a summary of everything. We've uploaded the files and all that. Let me go ahead and click on exit here. Okay, let me get a couple of yeses for those of you that has now been successful with uploading the files. 1 or 2 yeses. Very good. All right, I'm going to exit that now. Just click on exit. Just click on exit. Okay. Click on exit. Okay. All right. As you can see now, it looks exactly like what we had before. Okay. We had our assets, we had our CSS, we had our index, and we had our JS. Okay. So now, I'm going to click on properties. Okay. I'm going to click on properties. Okay. I'm going to click on properties. So below here somewhere, we should be able to see static website hosting, unless they've changed. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, they used to have the console was different before. I know for some of you that haven't touched it in a long time, you might have noticed, why does it look different? Yes, once in a while, AWS changes the console, and things are, like they try to change the UI, right? So it might be a little confusing for some people sometimes, but as long as you follow, it should be easy to follow if you're used to the old console. Okay, this is a new console with a new a UI, a new graphics, right? So now in this bucket, we want to click on what? Static website hosting, right? For this specific bucket. Now go ahead and click on edit. Okay, go ahead and click on edit. Go ahead and click on edit. Now we want to enable. Okay, we want to enable. Okay, we want to enable. Now we're going to say hosting type, host a static website. This is exactly what we want, right? Host a static website. Now you have to type in here, right? It's telling you what is your index document, what is your homepage. Every website has a homepage, as you all know. So it needs that in this case, okay? So this should work because we do have that in that folder that you guys downloaded. Okay, we do have that index. You see that? It doesn't show me the extension, but it is HTML. Okay, it is HTML. All right, it has an extension of HTML. So what you want to do here is just type it. It's telling you it should be an index. So type exactly the same thing. Type index.html. Okay, type index.html. If your developers told you we have an error page, you can make sure that the error page is also in here. Okay, it'll be error.html, but we don't have that, so don't worry about that. If there's an error, they will get a generic error message. Okay, so don't worry about this second one. We're not doing any redirection rules. So index.html, that's that. Now we're going to click on save changes. Okay, must be at least one. So it looks like now they want us to have this. So let's see if it will work without even having it in there. I don't know why it's compulsory now. You didn't have to do that before. Okay, we don't have an error.html document, but don't worry about that. It still works if okay, but your index, you have to have it in there. Okay, you have to have your index in there. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead now. Scroll down. Wow, there's still 40 people on this call. Actually, you guys are really interested in getting this done. Wow, nobody dropped. Okay, just one, but I think it was on 41 before. All right, guys, very good. I'm glad you all are still here. You want to see how this works out. All right, very good. Okay, thanks for sticking around. So this is the link now. Okay, this is the link. But guess what? We might get an error message. And we'll try to troubleshoot together. And I don't want you to look at me as the perfect guy that comes and does labs for you guys and everything works, okay? It's okay for us to do things sometimes and it doesn't work out. Stick with me. Let's troubleshoot together and let's figure it out together. That's the biggest part of your job. Troubleshooting. So I don't want everything to be already like role played and played out already and everything just works fine, it's okay, right? Sometimes I can get into errors, that I don't expect. We'll troubleshoot with you guys. You guys will learn from. It's actually a better learning experience when that happens. Okay, so let's go ahead now and test and see if this works, and let's see if we'll be able to see this. Remember, this is just an example of looking at what the website will look like, right? If we go to this a link that provides us this sample code. Okay, so this is what the website should look like if we give customers, right? If we give our users, they need to visit the website. If we give them this link, right, they should be able to see that website. So I'm just going to copy here. Click that arrow right there to open it in a new tab. Click that. You see this arrow right here? Just click on it, or you can just click on the link directly. It will just open it in a new tab. Now, wow, there's an error message. What is going on, guys? There is an error message. 403 forbidden, right? Guess what? With AWS, this is a security measure, right? Although we said, if you remember when we were creating this bucket, we said what? Allow us to be able to give public access. We did not. Think about this carefully. We did not give public access. We said what? Allow us to be able to what? Give public access. When we checked that bug that I told you guys, be careful. Don't ever do this, right? Unless you know there's a specific reason why you want to make make a bucket be able to allow public permissions. Okay, so we uncheck that. Now we can do something to make this website work, right? We can make it public. Okay, we can make it public. All right. So now most of you might have gotten this. Most of you might have gotten this page, and that's because we haven't made it public yet. But we are allowed to, because we uncheck that box when we're creating this bucket to say what? Do not disable public allow, something like that. Do not disable public access to this bucket, okay? All right, so let's see here. They've changed the screen a little bit. We're going to find it, and we're going to get this to work. So permissions, I'm going to click on permissions here. It should be in the permissions. Okay. And bucket policy. Bucket policy. Let's see, this might do it. Otherwise, we can do another way to use a code. Okay, click on edit here. Click on edit here. Just give me 1 second, guys. Let me just see. In the previous console, there used to be a box that just says make public. Okay, make public. Let's go ahead here and do this. Okay, this policy right here will allow us make this bucket public, okay, for read only, right? And we need this because we want people to be able to what? Read this website, okay? So we need to put this to now make this public, okay? We need to put this in the bucket policy to make this public. Now, with us being here in the AWS console, remember, like I said before, there's usually a button here to make this easily. You just choose it and you can make it public. But now we're going to use bucket policies. Okay, if they change where that was placed, I'll have to look for that later. But here's how else we can get this done. Let me give you guys this code right here. I'll paste this in the chat. Okay, this code. Yeah, let me just give you guys the link. No, actually, the code is easier. Here, take that code right there. Take that code and come. I'll give you the link as well if you. Let me give you guys the link as well. Okay, that's the link to the code as well. Okay. Now, I'm going to take this code right here. Okay, copy. Now for this bucket, we're going to add a bucket policy. Okay, I'm going to edit. I'm going to add a bucket policy. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add a bucket policy. and I need to make sure that I add this. Okay, copy that, the name of your bucket, copy the name of your bucket from that link up there, and change this. Change this to that. Let me get once if you are able to follow so far. Let me get once.
I didn't get to the edit bucket policy.
Okay, let me just show you guys one more time. Okay, let me just do it one more time. Sorry guys, I know for some of you that were able to do it, you know, we like to carry others along. Let's just do it one more time. Okay, you are inside of the bucket, right? I'm so sorry guys, for those of you that are following, so sorry. Let me just show it one more time. Okay, you're inside of your AWS S3 bucket. Okay, these are your buckets. This is the bucket we want for our new static website. Click on that. Okay, click on the bucket to open it. Okay, and we've done everything to make it a public website, and we uploaded the code and all that. Okay, I hope you followed up to that part. All right, now we have properties, we have permissions. Okay, we're not gonna go to properties again. Let's stick to permissions now. Okay, mine is just slow. Okay, properties, permissions. Okay, permissions. Okay, permissions. All right, this is how we got to bucket policy. Okay, this is how we got to bucket policy. All right, now what we're gonna do now is edit. Okay, what we're gonna do now is edit. Okay, now grab this policy that I just gave you guys. I can just click on the copy icon right here to copy it. I also pasted it on the chat to make it easier for you guys. All right, now click on here. Let me just refresh. I don't know why I had that unexpected error up there. Let me refresh and see if that goes away. Sorry guys, we're almost done. Hopefully in another 10 minutes we'll be done. Less than that. Wow, I have 41 people. You guys really want to see this? That's good. Thanks for sticking with me again. Okay, and sorry for my slow computer. I'll get a new RAM or something to make it much faster. I think because I have a couple of programs open. Okay. Thank you. I just want to be, I know you guys have other things to do today as well. Spend time with family and things like that. We're almost done. All we would just want to do is get this error message out of the way, right? So that we can see that we've successfully hosted a static website on AWS. All we're trying to do now is what? Get rid of this error message. Okay. All right, my S3 is loading. Thank you, Mustafa. Okay. All right, the error message is gone. Let me paste that code now. Remember, I need to make sure I'm specifying my exact, bucket. Okay, because you can have hundreds or thousands of buckets. There's a limit though to how many buckets you can have. I'm just using an example. I think you can have at least 100 buckets in an account. You can ask for AWS to increase the limit of the number of buckets you can have by contacting support, AWS support. So just copy that and change this. Remember, this is an example code that we got from the AWS website. So change that to the name of your bucket. Okay, you see what I'm doing? Change that to the name of your bucket. Okay, change that to the name of your bucket. Okay, now go ahead and click on save. Okay, go ahead and click on save. All right, go ahead and click on save. The following example policy grants permissions to any public anonymous user, all right, to allow, all right, which is useful when you configure your bucket as, you see that? As a website, and you want everyone to be able to read objects in your bucket. Now you see why we're doing this. Before, there used to be a button in the old console. You just click on something and you just click on make public. I don't see that here, but it's all good. We're troubleshooting now, right? And we're getting this done, right? So with that done now, the bucket is in there, the policy is in there. All right. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Great job. Who else got that done? Who else got that done? You just hosted a static website on AWS. Now, guess what? With this, your company does not have to worry about servers for hosting static website. Don't do that. I don't recommend that, okay? Use your servers for things that are more dynamic in nature, okay? Use your website for web applications that are dynamic. Maybe think of it like a WhatsApp application or a Facebook application that people need to log in. That one, yes, you need servers, or you go serverless. Don't worry about serverless for now. That's too advanced, okay? But great job, guys. You were able to host a static website today. Great job, great job, great job. Now, if your users want to go to your website, you just go ahead and give them this link, right? It's hosted on AWS. Here's how you can see it. You guys might be asking, can I customize this link to be like maybe a name, a custom a name for our company? Yes, you can do that. But guess what? That's a little too advanced for now. I can touch on things like that later on in the coming weeks, okay? And yes, you can make it HTTPS as well. So we can talk about those in later sessions and things like that. But today, thank you guys for sticking with me. And remember, you can always Google how to do that as well. If we end up now showing, HTTPS, all those things are easy to do, guys. YouTube videos will show you how to do that quickly. What else? We'll also show you how to customize this. But the biggest part of it, you've already done, right? You've taken a code that your developers created, right? And you've taken that code, you created a bucket in AWS to host that static website for your company. You hosted it. You went in, things didn't work out as you wanted, which happens every time in real life, right? You were able to troubleshoot that, find out what you needed to make it work, got the permission you needed for the bucket, put it in the bucket, it worked. Now you guys are good. Do we need to delete this S3 folder after? Yes, you can delete it. Yeah, you can delete it, or you can leave it. You remember, you guys, if your account is new, you have a year of free S3 storage option. But I recommend, delete everything we've done today. If you need to do it again tomorrow, you can always watch the video again. Yes.